Hello everyone, and today I'm going to talk about two speeches that I viewed of two famous people like Steve Jobs and Martin Luther King. I'm going to talk about their topics, their purposes, and evaluate more on the main points that they gave. First, I want to say that they had some kind of similarities, but for me, these were two completely different speeches, and now I'm going to explain why. So first, I want to start with Steve Jobs' speech. His speech was located on the graduation of Stanford University, and his audience and public he was talking to was mainly newly graduates of Stanford University. So I guess his main goal was to give some kind of advice and to inspire these newly graduates. And his specific purpose, as he mentions himself, was to tell three stories of his life, but each of his stories had some kind of inspiring elements in them, showing his life experience and kind of giving them the example. Uh, so the three stories that he talked about were about college, about love and loss, and about death. First, he talked about college, and it's really relevant to the public because they just graduated in university. He talked about dropping and then finding his way, but his main purpose in telling the story was to show them they should never give up. They should see their plans for the future beforehand, and as he said, make connecting the spots, which means that they should do something now, knowing that it will affect their future. Second story was about love and loss, and he talked about how he lost his job, but how his love for what he was doing actually helped him to find his way back to the top. And in this he inspired them and said that they should do what they love. And third one, he talked about death. He talked about how it's going to end one day, and that's why they shouldn't waste their lives on things that they don't like, and to do everything that they love. I think it's were great stories and really understandable and maybe relatable for the future of these graduates. And I liked how he started his speech. He started this with first he complimented the graduates, saying that they graduated like one of the finest universities, and second he made a joke to kind of have a connection with his public. Then after making his introduction, he evaluated his topic and then finished with a great quote again, kind of giving them advice and inspiring his public. The second speech that I'm going to talk about is a speech of Martin Luther King. And for him, the situation was a little bit different because his audience was had more varieties of people, but at the same time, it was mostly citizens of United States. And that's why he had to adapt his speech so that everyone could understand him. His specific purpose was to inform people about his vision of the future of the United States, and central idea was that in the future he wants all people to be free and united. As Steve Jobs, he told a couple of stories, but most of the time it was inspiring quotes that were really relatable to the people of his audience. For example, he said something like, "In the future, I want my children to be friends and be united." And as free as white people's children. And I think it was really relevant for most of the public because, as shown in the video, there were a lot of Afro-Americans in his audience. And at the end, he talked about not only Afro-Americans, but he also mentioned other minorities like Asians, Jews, and etc. And I think it's even more got interest of more percent of the public. But and that's why I think this was a great ending for his speech. That's why, in my opinion, both of the speeches were great, and they had great evaluation, great inspiring moments, and they actually adapted for the public.